we're going to talk about octaves played in the style of Wes Montgomery. We're going to cover the basic shapes, the technique, talk a little bit about why it's effective, some of the context on how Wes Montgomery would place these into solos, some practical limitations, as well as some practice benefits. Okay, let's get started. We have two total shapes, essentially. I oftentimes use the pick with this, but if you really want to get closer to the sound of Wes Montgomery, use the thumb. So we go across the strings, and you're really plucking the strings in total. And so what we need to do is have some muting going on in the left hand. But let's go over the shapes first. So we have on the low four strings, we have finger one, let's say on fret 6 here. And then we have a second finger, 2 frets towards the bridge and 2 strings towards the floor. You can use finger 4 or finger 3. So that goes for anything on the low 4 strings. Once we get to string 4 through 2 or 3 through 1, we need to move our 4th finger 3 frets towards the bridge and keep the same string distance, okay, in standard tuning. Now the muting, we want to be able to freely strum the strings without really worrying about which strings we're strumming. As we get to the first 3 strings, you're not going to want to attack string 6, so you want to generally go maybe about string 4 with the picking hand. Now to mute, essentially we want to take finger 1 and lay that really gently all across the strings. You can touch, let's say, string 6 in this instance, or the string on the ceiling side with a fingertip. Then we arch over to mute all the strings on the floor side of where our finger is playing. Let me place our second finger on the note, and that one can also come into contact with some of the higher strings. For additional coverage, you can gently lay down the second finger to help in the effort to mute the strings. Like I said earlier, I like to use the pick a lot because I can switch to hybrid picking or single lines with the pick. But you are going to get a brighter sound, so the thumb will give you a little bit of a mellower sound to it. So with this, we have 2 notes, but they're the same note, and they tend to reinforce each other. So you might say that the higher note reinforces the lower note, and it thickens the sound a bit, and you're really free to play those kind of single lines and just simply move this shape around, almost like a little tag-along finger. So Wes Montgomery would use this for melodic lines, but also soloing. Let's talk a little bit about the context of soloing. So oftentimes he would develop his solo in basically 3 stages, where he may play some single line notes, for maybe a whole chorus or 2, and then move into the octave style playing. And then he would tend to move from there to block chord style playing. And all of this helps to build intensity throughout the arc of the solo. So in your own solos, you might work at doing that because it really works very effectively, or simply move from single line to octaves and finish your solo that way. So we can try to use this technique to build intensity over the course of the solo. And when we go to play octaves in our solos, maybe the second half of our solo or maybe the middle third, we can use it as kind of a rhythmic driving force along with the rhythm section to get that interactivity and build intensity in the group as a whole. In doing that, it's very important to have that technique solid so that you can keep it going and keep up with the dynamics and the intensity of the rhythm section. Let's talk a little bit about some of the practical limitations of this. You notice I'm starting mainly here around fret 6. It's partly because of the key I'm working in, but aside from the note choice, once you go a bit lower, let's say fret 5, down lower than that, you're getting into really very low register. So you might try to keep it around fret 5 as somewhere around your lowest note, or fret 12 or fret 10 on string 6. Otherwise, we're getting way down into the bass range, and it may get muddy. Not an absolute limitation, but just something to be aware of. And then if you can take it to up around position 12, then you're in good shape as well for running that whole range. The next thing is, if you're used to playing in the patterns vertically, this is really going to force you out of that and move more horizontally. I had been listening to Wes Montgomery for many years without seeing any video footage, and I remember seeing him for the first time on a recording, and what really struck me was how horizontal his movements were. So a real eye-opener for me. And so one thing that this will do for you really is to help you move more in a horizontal manner, because it really forces you into doing that. As a side note, I've heard that Wes Montgomery originally started on a 4-string instrument, something like a baritone ukulele, similar to this instrument. That might also explain a little bit of why he was so horizontal, because of the limitations of just having 4 strings versus 6. Of course, we all know he moved to 6-string. It's also said that he would play or practice really late at night, and so to not disturb anyone, he would play with a thumb rather than a pick, probably because of that softer initial attack like we talked about earlier. Okay, so things to practice. Each string set is going to be a little bit different, so work on the octaves. On the top 3 strings, you may find it helpful to keep that second finger, like we talked about, touching strings 5 and 6, so that you can go after all the strings with the right hand. And then just check in with each string set. Try to identify the issues with that. So when I'm down here on the low 4 strings, which probably wouldn't be down there that much anyway, like we talked about before, but that first finger really has to cover the top 3 strings. So each string set is going to ask a little bit of something different from the fretting hand. Like I mentioned earlier, try to be free with the picking hand, but you really don't need to be going after string 6 when you're on the top 3 strings. So that muting thing is really important. So we want to master that, all those shapes. Next up, try to play these moving up, chromatically 1 fret at a time. Right? And get a sense for, mastering that string set with the control of the muting, and then getting a sense for how those frets feel as they get closer together, and just repeat that on each and every string set, just going up and down, trying to keep it all real clean. Like we said earlier, this is really going to demand that you're moving horizontally. So go ahead and work at simple scales, major scale, C major. And work those out on different string sets. Try to play a simple melody that you know. Could be anything. Improvise a few notes. And play it in octaves. Well, that's all for this video. If you have anything to add, please leave a comment down below. Also, like and subscribe really helps out the channel. And check out our free guide to jazz guitar improvisation, linked down in the description below. Enjoy your practice session, and I'll see you all in the next one.